Sometimes the most innocent school trip can turn into a nightmare that haunts you forever. This is the story of Emily, a girl who never believed in curses until the forest proved her wrong. Emily had always dreamed of joining the school camping trip. Every year, she watched her classmates leave with their backpacks, sleeping bags, and wide smiles. And every year, she stayed behind because her grandmother forbade her. "The forest is not safe," her grandmother used to say, her voice low and sharp. "There are things there you must never disturb." But Emily, like most teenagers, thought it was just an old woman's superstition, nothing more than a silly warning. This year, she begged harder than ever. After days of pleading, her grandmother finally sighed and gave in. "Fine," she said, "but don't forget, if you hear laughter in the woods, don't answer." Emily chuckled at the strange warning, not realizing it was deadly serious. On Friday morning, the group of students left the schoolyard with bright excitement. Their teacher, Mr. Collins, stood at the front of the bus, reminding everyone to behave and follow the rules. The engine rumbled, and the forest road stretched ahead like a dark throat, swallowing them whole. At first, the ride was full of laughter, songs, and playful shouting. But as they drove deeper into the woods, the mood shifted. Outside the windows, tall trees pressed closer against the narrow road. The sunlight dimmed, shadows stretched long, and the air grew colder. That was when they heard it, soft, metallic tones drifting through the forest. At first, it sounded like wind chimes, then like faint music, distant but clear. A few students exchanged nervous glances. "Probably someone's radio," one boy muttered, trying to laugh, although his voice shook. But Emily knew no one lived out here. The sound was too strange, too hollow, echoing in a way that didn't belong to the natural world. A shiver crawled up her spine, but she bit her lip and said nothing. The bus finally stopped at a wide clearing, surrounded by towering trees. The students piled out, dragging tents and bags across the grass. Mr. Collins gave instructions with a forced smile, trying to keep the mood light. But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something was already watching them. As the sun dipped lower, the forest grew unsettlingly quiet. No birds, no insects, only silence pressing heavily against their ears. Emily glanced at her best friend Sarah, who whispered, "This place feels wrong." Emily nodded slowly, her grandmother's warning replaying in her head. She tried to smile, tried to pretend everything was fine, but deep inside, she knew this trip was going to change everything. That evening, the students gathered around a campfire. Flames danced, shadows flickered across their faces, and for a while, laughter returned. Sarah leaned against Emily, whispering jokes to calm her nerves. But even through the warmth of the fire, Emily felt a chill crawling over her skin. Mr. Collins told ghost stories to entertain the group, his voice echoing into the woods. The students clapped and laughed, but their joy was short-lived. Suddenly, a sharp scream tore through the night. Everyone froze. It was Jessica, one of the girls. She clutched her chest, eyes wide, her body shaking violently as if invisible hands were gripping her. "Get it out," she shrieked, her voice twisting into something unnatural. Several students jumped up, panicking. Mr. Collins rushed forward, but Jessica's body convulsed. Her voice deepened, words spilling out in a language no one understood. The fire crackled louder, sparks flying into the dark sky. "Hold her down," shouted one of the older boys, his own voice breaking with fear. But no one dared touch her. Her eyes rolled back, her mouth twisting into a grotesque grin. Emily grabbed Sarah's hand. Her nails dug deep into her friend's palm, because just beyond the firelight, she saw something move. A small figure, pale, with hair hanging over its face, standing in the mist. She blinked hard, but the figure remained. A child, alone, watching. Its lips curled into an unnatural smile before vanishing into the trees. Emily gasped, pointing, but Sarah didn't see anything. Meanwhile, Jessica collapsed. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. Then she went still. The group was silent, too terrified to speak. Mr. Collins tried to regain control, his voice trembling. "It's okay. Maybe she just fainted." But no one believed him. The night dragged on, heavy with unease. Students whispered in their tents, afraid to sleep. Emily lay awake, staring at the fabric roof above her, praying that what she saw wasn't real. But then she heard it, a faint giggle outside her tent. High-pitched, childlike, it grew louder, circling the camp. Emily froze, holding her breath as the laughter turned into a chorus of voices. Emily sat upright, clutching her sleeping bag. The laughter was everywhere, weaving through the trees like invisible threads. Sarah stirred beside her, whispering, "Do you hear that?" Emily nodded, her lips trembling. They peeked outside the tent. A thick mist had rolled into the clearing, wrapping around the camp like a shroud. And in that mist were shapes, small, hunched figures, moving slowly. One by one, the shapes became clearer. Children, dozens of them, standing in a circle around the tents. Their faces were pale, their eyes dark voids that swallowed the firelight. And yet, they were smiling. Some of them clapped their hands, their tiny palms making hollow echoes. Others tilted their heads at impossible angles, staring with blank expressions. The laughter grew louder until it became a deafening, distorted chorus. Suddenly, one of the boys, Mark, screamed and bolted out of his tent. He ran toward the trees, his flashlight bouncing wildly. "Get away from me!" he shouted, but the mist swallowed him whole. Mr. Collins shouted for everyone to stay inside, his voice panicked, but the command was useless. Chaos erupted. Students cried, some praying, others frozen in fear. Emily clutched Sarah, both shaking uncontrollably. Her eyes darted back to the circle of ghostly children. They were closer now, their grins wider, their heads jerking unnaturally. One of them raised a hand and waved directly at her. Emily's blood turned cold. She ducked back into the tent, heart pounding. "They see us! They know we're here!" Then came another scream, a girl named Megan. Her voice was shrill, piercing the night. When Emily looked again, Megan was gone, vanished into the fog, just like Mark. And the children, they were laughing louder than ever. By midnight, half the students were crying uncontrollably. Mr. Collins tried to rally them, holding a flashlight high, but even he was pale with fear. "Stay together," he barked. "Don't run." His voice cracked at the end. Suddenly, Jessica, the girl who had collapsed earlier, stood up with glassy eyes. Her lips moved, chanting words that chilled the air. Mr. Collins grabbed her shoulders, but she shoved him back with unnatural strength. The campfire flared, sparks hissing, Emily's stomach turned as the shadows of the ghostly children stretched across the clearing, their bodies twitching like broken dolls. Desperate, Mr. Collins began to pray aloud. His voice shook, but he kept going, reciting words of faith into the suffocating darkness. The ghostly children shrieked, covering their ears, their smiles twisting into grimaces. But they didn't leave. Instead, the mist thickened, and their bodies grew clearer, almost solid. One of them stepped forward, a little boy with hollow eyes and a sunken chest. He opened his mouth, and the sound that came out was not a laugh, but a scream so loud it rattled Emily's bones. Students collapsed, some fainting, others curling into the ground. Sarah clutched Emily tightly, sobbing into her shoulder. Emily wanted to run, but her legs wouldn't move. Mr. Collins held his ground, shouting his prayers into the night. The air rippled as if reality itself was trembling. For a moment, I thought it might work. But then the boy reached forward with his bony hand. The ground beneath them shook violently. One of the tents collapsed, and Megan's voice echoed from the trees, but it wasn't human anymore. "Stay with us," it whispered. By dawn, the forest was eerily still again. The mist faded, the ghostly children gone. But 3 students were missing: Mark, Megan, and Jessica. Their names were whispered like curses among the survivors. Mr. Collins tried to lead everyone back to the bus, but when they arrived, the engine wouldn't start. The forest wasn't letting them go. That was when 2 boys, Ryan and Tyler, finally confessed. Their faces were pale, eyes bloodshot with guilt. "It's our fault," Ryan stammered. We made a spirit game last night, near the river, just for fun." Emily's heart sank. "What kind of game?" she demanded. "Jai Long Kung. We asked if any spirit wanted to play." The students gasped in horror. Some cursed at them, others broke down crying. But Emily's stomach twisted harder than anyone's because she remembered her grandmother's warning. The laughter, the children. It was all connected. Mr. Collins shouted at them, demanding details. Ryan confessed that they had left the spirit vessel near a small grave marked with stones. A child's grave. And that's when everything began. Emily felt the air grow colder again. She turned her head slowly toward the tree line. For just a second, she saw them. The children, standing there, silently watching, waiting. And she knew they weren't done yet. The students finally managed to leave the forest by afternoon. The bus sputtered back to life as if the woods had grown tired of them. Everyone thought the nightmare was over, but it wasn't. That night, back home, Emily lay in bed trying to forget. She told herself it was just trauma, just imagination. But at 3 a.m., she woke to the sound of knocking. 3 slow knocks against her window. Her breath caught. With trembling hands, she pulled the curtain aside, and there it was, a child's face, pale and smiling, pressed against the glass. Sarah called her the next morning, crying. She swore she heard laughter under her bed. Ryan admitted he saw small footprints in his room leading to his closet. Tyler stopped answering his phone altogether. One by one, the survivors began to realize the truth. The spirits had followed them home. Emily's grandmother wept when she heard the story. She whispered, "I told you. The children are not of this world. Once you call them, they never let you go." And so Emily lives each day with fear. Fear of mirrors, fear of windows, fear of the laughter that echoes in her ears at night. because once you've heard the laughter of the unseen, it never leaves you.